Uh, okay, so we're looking at trying to get an equation from a given t-chart. And we could also do this with a graph if we pulled the points off the line. But what we're looking for here is part A, it says what is the slope of the function? Part B, what is the y-intercept of the function? And C, write the equation of the function in the form y equals mx plus b, so slope-intercept form. So let's start with the first part here. It says, what is the slope? Now, the way we go about finding slope, if we remember, let's see, what color do I want to use? I'll use green. Slope, we pick 2 points. So I'm just going to grab the first two that are available, negative 3, 5, and 1, 13. And across the top of the fraction, I subtract the y values. On the bottom, I do the same thing, and I got to make sure I keep them in order. I put the 13 first, so that means I got to put the 1 first here. So this would be 1 minus, and then I have negative 3 as my x-coordinate. So I need to subtract negative 3. And then I simplify this down. 13 minus 5 is 8. 1 minus a negative 3 is a positive 4, because this would turn into addition. Minus a negative is addition. And so it's 8 divided by 4, or 2. So the slope is 2. Part B, it says, what's the y-intercept of the function? What we should remember about this is that the y-intercept is always the coordinate that has 0 as its x-coordinate. So if I look back at the chart, I see that the very last point they give me, 0, 11, 0 is the x-coordinate. This means that my b, my y-intercept, is 11. It's the corresponding y value. And the last part of this, it says write the equation of the function in the form y equals mx plus b. And if we look, we just did a bunch of solving or finding of this stuff. So we have 2 is the slope, so that's going to go in there. 11 is the y-intercept, so that's going to go in there. And if I rewrite this now, I wind up with y equals 2x plus 11. And there's the equation. So if we follow these 3 steps from the t-chart, what's the slope, what's the y-intercept, plug those back into the formula, y equals mx plus b, and you can kick out the equation. Your task, write an equation and generate the t-chart. So what we want you to do is we want you to write a random equation. Y equals some number, negative 3, times x plus or minus some number, so we'll say minus 5, and generate the t-chart. So remember, with the t-chart, you get to pick the values. You could say, okay, I'm going to use 0, 5, 9, and 4. One thing you have to do is make sure that 0 is part of your x values. And you have to give us the t-chart. So I have to plug a 0 in for x, so negative 3 times 0 minus 5 is minus 5. Do the same thing for the 5. So this would be negative 15 minus 5 is negative 20. So plugging a 9 in, negative 27 minus 5 would be negative 32. And plugging a 4 in, or negative 3 times 4, minus 5 is negative 12 minus 5 is negative 17. So what I want you to do is you're going to generate a t-chart from an equation, and you're going to send me or Miss Fry this t-chart. We don't want the equation. That's what we're going to do in class. You guys are going to give us the t-charts. We're going to generate the equations. Okay, so generate a t-chart from a random equation that you make, and send me or Miss Fry your t-chart before you come to class. All right, and make sure you write down your equation. That way we can make sure whenever we get our answer that we got the same thing you started with. All right, we'll see you guys at the live lesson.